Hi, I'm Erica Ramirez, founder of Illy and host of What About Your Friends, a podcast dedicated to the many lives of friendship and how it's portrayed in pop culture. Every Wednesday on the Ringer Dish feed, I talk to my best friend Stephen Othello and your favorites from within the Ringer and beyond about friendships on TV, in movies, pop culture, and our real lives. So join me every Wednesday on the Ringer Dish feed where we try to answer the question TLC asked back in the day, what about your friends?
This episode is brought to you by eBay Authenticity Guarantee. eBay knows that when it comes to jewelry, authenticity is the real gem. When you see the blue check mark that says Authenticity Guarantee, it means your next piece will be carefully inspired by jewelry experts and will always be worth its weight in gold. Whether you're looking to make a statement or build the perfect everyday look, eBay is making sure you get the real deal. With eBay Authenticity Guarantee, you can trust that jaw-dropping piece will always arrive jaw-droppingly real. Ensure your next purchase is the real deal. Visit ebay.com for terms. This episode is brought to you by Reese's Peanut Butter Cups. All right, it's official. I think I've discovered the ultimate coupling of all time. Like any good relationship, they really balance each other out. One is super sweet, and the other, well, they can be a little nutty sometimes. It is, of course, Reese's Peanut Butter Cups, the perfect combination of peanut butter and chocolate. So perfect, some would call it true love. Find Reese's now at a store near you. Welcome to Bachelor Party. I'm Juliet Litman. I'm here with my good friend, Callie Curry. Hi, Callie.
Hello, Juliet.
I've just promoted you to good friend. How do you feel?
I feel great. I think you feel great about it.
I do.
I'm glad we can both share in this.
Our relationship is moving in the right direction, much like Charity and Many for Men. There was a lot of things that were just a hard no for me this week, and I would like to get into that. Lots to discuss, and obviously we'll do a Love Island update at the end. I just want to acknowledge the elephant in the room that Hulu has screwed up and episode 51 is not available at time of recording here on Monday. I'm pissed, but thanks for giving it to us 5 days later instead of 2 weeks, I guess. I don't know. It's a real roller coaster, this Love Island life. Callie, who's your front runner? We got 4 guys that are going to...
Come on.
We got Joey, Xavier, Aaron B, and Dotun. Who is your least likely to win?
Least likely is Aaron.
Aaron, for sure. She begrudgingly gave him the rose. She did not want to.
Even though she gave him the rose before Xavier, I think she felt like she had to do that because Xavier just told her, I'm not sure if I want to get married yet, essentially. So I felt like she was like, Aaron will marry me. I got to give it to him. Plus, everyone just saw Xavier just tell me he's not ready. So I got to make him sweat a little bit.
Let's talk about that. Xavier is I need to tell her, I need to let her know how I'm feeling. Or I forget what exactly the phrasing was, but I thought he was going to be like, I'm separated at birth from a twin or something, like a conjoined twin. I don't know. That's what I thought of, but I thought he was going to reveal some kind of personal secret. I didn't think he was going to reveal that he's not ready to settle down and he doesn't know about this relationship. I mean, I feel like that almost got buried at the end of the episode where that's a pretty huge deal. I mean, how could she go and meet his family after that?
Well, the way he said it made it less huge.
Sure.
He was like, I just want to let you know, and by the way, I agree with you when he said, I'm going to be completely open with her and share with her. I don't even know the exact wording he used, but I was like, what is he going to say? Did something happen? I just didn't know what he was going to say. And then he was essentially just like, I don't know if I'm going to be ready to get down on one knee. But he did this huge but. I think I can get there. I'm like, wait, what? So...
This explains why he and Braden got along so well, because it's basically the same as Braden. He's just not a jerk and not unbearable. He's just similarly not sure that he's ready for this or that this is the right scenario for him. I mean,
right. He even said, which I thought was kind of I thought it was going to send him home. He was like, I do want to get married. I just don't know if it's you. I was like,
I know.
Oh, okay. Well.
What a jerk, kind of. If someone said that to me, I'd be like, all right, well, I think we're done here then. If you don't know if it's me, then...
Okay. Yes. But in true Xavier fashion, like, how are you supposed to know? To his point, he was like, I want her to get to know all of me and still want to marry me. There's just no way you're getting to know all of me before this thing ends. There's just no way.
Obviously.
And I think that's what he's struggling with. I think he likes her. I think he likes her a lot. And it's just like, yeah, everything's all good. But like, if I'm like being rational here, I've spent 2 hours with her.
I like how he dresses. I liked his sweater and stuff.
Sweater?
Yeah. He looks good.
So I watched this on the plane and I did my notes in a separate note because my internet was being weird on the plane, like always. I wrote in that note, we talked about how he's too cool for Charity. And when I saw the sweater, I was like, yep, too cool.
Yeah, it was like it was like a mohair.
It reminded me of a Marnie sweater. I don't know. Marnie's a brand that's very, very like popular right now.
Oh, maybe it is.
It's insanely expensive, but like you see it like if you follow those accounts of like basketball players walking into even football players, I guess. Although I don't think football players have the best fashion, but regardless, you'll see it on like League Fits.
Gotcha. Yeah, he looked really good. Also, he was like layering different colors. He just kind of looks cool. Like he clearly is much cooler than the other guys.
Much cooler than the other guys. Not saying the other guys are like uncool, but he's very cool.
Yeah, he just seems like he's doing his own thing and he's like really calm. I don't know. I really do like him. I'm just like, he's clearly not ready. And I mean, who do you think? Okay, so we think Aaron B is out. Who goes further, Joey or Xavier? Like, do you think Dotton's obviously winning? There's no question.
Yeah.
But,
yeah.
But
that was your original question, and I didn't even want to give you the respect of answering it because we all know who's winning.
Xavier's from Ohio, and he's he's getting a PhD, I believe, in North Carolina.
Oh yes, I had someone DM me who was like, I had a similar position. I went to school for my PhD for what he's going to school for. And we don't make a lot of money, essentially. And because I said that, he's going to make a lot of money, or at least not in the beginning.
Yeah, but he has a good potential in the future.
Yeah. And then she looked up his exact position of where he's at. And she couldn't find anything from like today, but she found something from like 2 years ago of where he was at this like research position. And she explained it to me. And I gotta say, only understood maybe like 2% of it. So that just brought me to the conclusion that he's really smart.
Yeah. And maybe that's part of why he's like cool and stuff, Yeah. I'm looking at his page at UNC. And first of all, he goes to UNC Chapel Hill, not even one of the other UNCs. So that's pretty cool. He is a PhD candidate and president of Society for Black Biomedical Scientists. And he seems awesome. Wow. His email is just available. Should I email him? It's on his page.
I'm sure. Can we get him on the pod?
I think I have to go through ABC for that. But there's a lot about him online. I'm mad at myself for not checking beforehand. But yeah, he's like just clearly very active on campus. I love it. I love this guy. But probably not for Charity. Do you think Dotton is actually the best fit or just her favorite?
I think he's best fit and favorite.
They had a cute date. Although this brings me into something I wanted to ask you.
They did?
Well, neither of us like running, but we'll come back to that in a second. Aside from the running date, could you tell me what anyone else did on any of their dates? Did anyone have an activity? You're thinking really hard because the answer is no.
Yes. No, yes. They got to look at alligators.
Is that an activity? That's like a Tuesday in Florida.
Well, they ride on a boat. Where you are. Riding on a boat is an activity, but I agree. It's very easy to do here. But they're riding on a boat looking at alligators.
Sean even said, there's alligators at my golf course in Florida all the time because it's part of a nature preserve. So here's what they did.
He asked if they could feed them. And the guy was like, yeah, right. But I feel like Sean was like, what are we doing?
Are you allowed to feed them?
And I would not feed an alligator. Yeah, you can if you go to Gatorland.
That exists? Is that real?
Yes. It's a little like, what constitutes as a theme park? But it's like a theme park with no rides.
Sounds gross.
But you can go feed the gators. There's tigers. It's very like Tiger King-esque, but like
alligators in the natural in an actual habitat they might live in.
Yeah, and it's Tiger King if it were commercialized.
I see. Tiger King is absolutely grosses me out. But okay, I'm just going to give you a quick synopsis of what happened on this episode. Charity goes to meet them at their hotel. Then she and Joey go in a horse-drawn carriage, which is an absolute nightmare, a smelly, hot nightmare. Fuck no. I never want to do that. Then they have dinner. Then she has the 2-on-1 where they go on a boat. And then they have dinner, allegedly. Then she and Dotun go for a run. And then they have dinner. And then finally, the last group date is like in a house where she just has like a series of conversations with them. This has to be the cheapest episode of The Bachelorette of all time. Nothing costs money. They just like had to tip the guy for, pulling them along in the horse-drawn carriage and like rent a boat
and the
out.
boat. And
That's
the boat.
it.
By the way, the tourist guy on the boat gave us some good clips.
Yes,
he deserves he deserves a pay raise.
I enjoyed him, but like I was just sort of flummoxed. I was like, so they're not leaving the country, and more on that until they go to Fiji at the end. They aren't doing like anything noteworthy in New Orleans. Although, do you remember the last time they went to New Orleans?
No.
I believe it was Nick Viall's season because he and Rachel had a 1-on-1 in New Orleans, I recall. And then I believe they went to a former plantation and like had like a date there or something. It was in the Bachelorette's extremely racially tone deaf era. And I was like, I guess they don't know what else to do in New Orleans if they're not like exploiting the terrible history of the South or something. But I was just like, so there's nothing else to do here? This is it?
I mean, if they can find something to do in every other city in the U.S., especially on hometowns, they can absolutely find something better to do than a 10K. That was absolutely ridiculous to me. Even if there was the coolest race in the world happening, why are we jogging on a date? They can't talk if they're jogging. So like that's why the film was very short. All they could show was him putting his arm around me, which also like don't put your arm around me for jogging.
I gotta say, he looks really good in a tutu. I was like, oh, he looks cute.
I did like that he was down for whatever. And like, he seems like just like a positive, happy, sweet guy.
He's kind of like the platonic ideal of a Bachelorette contestant. He did a answering questions on his Instagram, and apparently he got cast because like someone dropped out last minute and they recommended him. So he didn't like necessarily apply. He didn't know a ton about the show, but he's just kind of like down for whatever. And he has a really positive attitude. And it seems like he and Charity really like each other. I mean, it seems like they're getting deep, although I have no actual proof of that. But I don't know. They seem really good together, although he's double her height. But other than that, they seem perfect.
Do we ever have any actual proof?
No, although, I did want to ask you what you thought about Charity's conversation with Joey, where she asked him how he felt about being in an interracial relationship. What did you think of that conversation?
I thought that Joey answered it in almost the best way possible. The only thing that he didn't say that I would have liked is him just saying like, I will never understand like what it's like to be Black in America, especially a Black woman in America. But like, I want to learn as much as possible. I want to be as supportive as possible to you as your partner. And if we were to have kids, then I want to be as knowledgeable as possible. Mm-hmm. I hate listen and learn. I hate that comment. I just need to listen and learn. But everything he said outside of the listen and learning thing, I thought was the right thing to say.
He seems like a genuinely good dude.
And not that it's the same, but I do think because of his experience with his dad, he seems like very open to like taking a step back and like, let me understand where you're coming from.
Yeah.
And I want to make sure that like we're all like supporting you and loving you in the right way that you need to be, and that you're proud of who you are, and that no one is taking anything away from you.
Yeah.
And that seemed to, and he didn't, which I really like, that he did not vocalize the comparison. But I feel like he's learned from that experience.
Yeah, I got that impression too.
Applying it to this. Yeah.
Yeah. I think especially maybe he did say it and we just didn't see it, but at least with what we saw, he clearly was taking the position of like, I don't know what this is like, and I can't know until I'm experiencing it, but here's where I am right now. I agree with you. I thought he handled it well, but what really struck me was her just like forthrightness and like she brought up the topic in a way that I think is just like a favor to the Bachelor franchise. Like it was natural. It was relevant. It wasn't like I didn't feel like she like glossed over this like clearly important topic. And I just think that's got to be hard to do. And I just admire her for how she approached it on the show. I don't know. I mean, maybe that's like something I shouldn't admire her for it, or I don't know if that's like a weird way to put it, but I just felt like she was doing a favor for the television show because they've had such a terrible history with handling topics of race and honestly just like difference in general.
Yeah, I think that she helped them so that it was brought up in an organic way and not like a forced way at all. But I did appreciate her being so like blunt and asking the question. And it was apparent to me when she didn't ask Double Denim Ken or Tanner the question. I was like, oh, Joey's in the final four. They're not.
Yeah, definitely.
Because
she just didn't think it was like something they'd have to contend with because she didn't see herself with them.
I feel like she asked Joey because she's like, I'm actually like serious about this. You're definitely in my top 4. And I think it's top 2. If I'm based on like what I've seen, I think he's going to be in the top 2. And I think Dotton's winning, but I wouldn't be shocked if Joey won.
Well, I think his family seems like maybe they poison things a little bit next week.
Yeah, we'll see.
We'll see. I thought also the way that it's put a lot more context around why her relationship with her ex has impacted her so much as well. Because it's not just the cheating, but it sounds like there was other stuff that was going on as well, where like he didn't understand her or he didn't make an effort to really like understand what it's like to be her and like be a Black woman. And I thought that was interesting and something we just really hadn't gotten much of previously. So yeah, I thought it was really interesting. And again, like when I watch this stuff, this is like maybe somewhat cynical, I'm just like, Charity's really doing the show a favor. But I'm also glad that it's on TV.
We've been on a bit of a roller coaster with Charity, but I actually really liked her, how she was almost this entire episode. There's a few things that I didn't understand, but for the most part, I like how she handled things. And I do think she is a really good Bachelorette.
I think she's a phenomenal Bachelorette.
Yeah.
She is fun. First and foremost, she seems like fun. I don't know that she and I would be best friends, but she seems like she's good to hang out with. She talks to the camera really well, but she also will have moments where she's loose when she's like, and I don't run. And I'm like, yeah, me neither. That's great. Like she's relatable, but polished. And I think that is like really crucial. And like something that like Katie really lacked is like, she was not relatable, nor was she polished.
Yeah.
And I thought,
And Michelle was almost too polished.
Yes, definitely. Michelle, I feel like we didn't get to know Michelle.
Yeah, Charity's a good balance. Yeah, I was just thinking that throughout the episode. Like, I haven't really been bored from cheering for some of these relationships. So I think for the show, I'm not sure if I fully understood the pick when it happened. And now I'm like, oh, this was a great pick by the show. I got to give them credit.
Well, it just tells you how much we didn't get to see in Zach's season. Like that. I just feel like they've been making weird choices where I felt like I didn't get to know Michelle. We definitely get to know Charity and Zach's season. We didn't really get to know anyone in Zach's seasons other than Gabby and Katie, the final 2.
Yeah.
So, whereas like even this week, this was the only week we got to know Tanner, but now I feel like I know him and he's just really boring. I would say that's why he got ghosted. The girl was probably like, I'm just going to back away from this one and see what happens. But he seems like a nice guy.
Okay. I don't disagree with you on Tanner. I think Tanner's going to do really well in Paradise.
He's objectively quite handsome. I would say
good looking.
Yeah.
And he seems like from what the very little we've seen, he just seems like generally a nice guy.
I realized that I was like, he looks so familiar. And then I realized I think he's like a mix of like, he's like 65% Michael A. and 35% Tyler Cameron.
That's a stretch. With Tyler Cameron, obviously. I think he looks like, and I can't think of his name, but Raven's husband.
Adam Gottschalk or something.
Oh, wait, is that him? No. Maybe not Raven. Who's the other girl with, Jade. Jade's husband.
Yeah, well, her husband's also named Tanner. So maybe that's
I know,
think
but I think they look alike. They could be brothers. Tanner A and Tanner B. Yeah, I think Tanner will do good in Paradise. But
yeah, absolutely.
To go back to the ghosting.
Yes.
Have you ghosted someone before?
No.
Have you been ghosted?
Not really. Like not
Mildly.
By someone. I feel like no, not like I feel like I like joke about being ghosted like at work. Although once I was ghosted by someone who was like just never came to their first day of work. but I wasn't ghosted in a relationship.
I just don't know when ghosting is necessary. Just tell someone what's up.
Do you think it's better to send a text being like, hey, this isn't working? Or like, would you rather be ghosted or have someone send you a really rude text? I mean, I guess you never want to be ghosted.
It doesn't have to be rude, but they can, like, I would rather know, like, this is not happening than sit and wait for a text.
Yeah.
Like, it's so easy
Definitely.
to be like, hey, like, I've had a lot of fun with you, but I just feel like this isn't working out for A, B, and C. I wish you well. I hope we can be friends one day or whatever it is. Have a good one.
Mm-hmm. Occasionally, I've been on a couple of like really bad first dates where I'm just like, this needs to be expunged for my life, and we'll just like ghost that guy.
Well, that I think a first date is different than he was in a fucking relationship with this person.
He said it was for 3 years.
That's insane. That person is crazy for not communicating at all. I think that is wild and insanely disrespectful. You like just completely have no regard for this man's time. After being with him for 3 years, you can't even let him know it's over.
It sounded like it was a COVID move because he said they were together for 3 years and then he hasn't. And then 3 years ago, he got ghosted and he's 30. So it sounds like it happened when he was 24 and this woman moved to Florida like so many during COVID. So who knows what happened. But ghosting is pretty terrible. Don't do it, people. Just leave a post-it like Burger, Sex in the City. Sorry, I can't. I forget how we got on this Tanner storyline.
We were talking about him being
How did we get
ghosted, but
here?
I was just thinking about why they named that guy Burger. But anyways.
It's his last name.
Yeah, but I just like, but it's not his last name. It's a fake person's last name. Do you know anyone with the last name Burger?
Yes. I'm about to say, you're thinking of it as like the food. It's
Berger. You're right.
Like, it's a very Jewish name.
Yeah, you're right. But there's plenty of Jewish names to choose from other than Burger.
I guess. I don't think of the food when I hear the name Burger.
How?
Because it's a common Jewish name and I'm Jewish.
That's like saying you don't think of the food apple pie because it's a common last name. Like, no, you still think of an apple pie, but you know,
apple pie is not a common last name.
I know. I'm just saying you have to at least think of it, but you know it's not that.
I don't. Do you think in pictures or in letters? Like when you see a word, when you think of a word, do you see it the way it's spelled, or do you think of like a person or whatever?
When you said burger, I thought of a picture of a burger, but I think in general, I think in letters.
I do too, which is another reason why I don't think of the food, because I know of the E versus the U.
I do think you changed things for me when you were like, it's not spelled like that. I was like, oh yeah, it's BER. But
we were talking about how much we like Charity. I just want to say one thing I didn't like about Charity.
Okay.
I didn't like how she kept apologizing to Double Denim Ken and Tanner for the 2-on-1. She was like, obviously, it's not what we all wanted. It's not the best situation. She kept apologizing to them. And I was like, don't apologize, girl. It's not your choice. And they know that. And it's fine.
What is her choice?
I guess. Is it? I mean, she's not like, hey, I'd love to do a 2-on-1 date. Maybe they're like, you're doing it. Who do you want? But
there's two things I didn't like about Charity. One was, why did you do that 2-on-1? Usually you do a 2-on-1 with two people that you're like, it's one or the other. I can't keep both of them for whatever reason. And usually it's earlier on in the season, not a 2-on-1 to go to fucking hometowns.
I know. When Tanner was like, thinking about our first 1-on-1 being at hometowns, I was like, ooh, it's not going to work out.
No. Also, like, I completely agree with Sean. Her being like, I'm not going to give the rose out, which she did twice. I would be like, well, I'm obviously not winning this. If you can't tell me that you know that you want to be with me or want me to be in the final four when you just took Dotun and Joey on a date and you knew then, but you don't know.
You've already been on 1-on-1s with them.
Yeah, and you don't know about me, then like, I should just go home because it's not me. Nothing's gonna change in a week when you go meet my family. Like, you can't tell me today if you want me in your final four, not even final two. You can't tell me I'm in the top 4. But
you're heated about.
You want to meet my parents? I just, as much as I wasn't a huge fan of Double Denim Ken, I was like, yeah, I would need more. Tanner was just like, yeah, she wants to make a good decision, and obviously she's not sure, and I'm just happy to be here. I was like,
why are you making him sound like a Southern uncle?
Because he was just like, yeah, woo, happy to be here. I'm just like, no.
We love your accent work on this podcast, but that's a weird one.
This is not a good sign for you. He seemed totally fine with it. And Sean, he was like, clearly Sean's upset. I was like, yeah, because Sean is reading the room. He knows what's going on here. For some reason, you're not picking it up. You're not picking up that you're going home next.
I think he's just happy to be here. He's just like,
Clearly.
cool, just going to go along with it. Yeah.
Clearly.
I like Tanner. I don't know why I'm defending him, but I just thought that the 2-on-1 in general was edited really weirdly. I was like, did something else get canceled?
It's so awkward. I think it was also awkward because they both like each other. Like Tanner and Sean wouldn't say bad things about each other, which I was going to say, in general, all the guys, I have to give Aaron some credit here for not being a favorite on this pod, which I don't dislike him as much as you do. But I thought he was insanely mature with how he told Charity, like, yeah, it sucked this week because you went on dates with da-da-da-da. And then, I wanted it to be me. But I mean, they're all great guys. Like, I was like, that was really nice. And when Xavier was like freaking out, he was like, bro, you got to just be honest with her. Like, just tell the truth. Like, be yourself. Might be your last chance. Like, he gave him like a pep talk going into his one-on-one. And this is before he had the rose. I was like, wow, that was really nice of Aaron.
I just think it is absolutely savage to not take the guy in his hometown on a one-on-one. Like, especially because he hasn't had he had one, but a while ago.
Yeah, early on. I think he was
it's like
first or second one-on-one.
And it was first. It was, okay, I'm pretty sure it was first because I was surprised by it. That sucks. Like, I would be so upset. Also, I would hate going to my hometown while on a reality show if I couldn't like see my family or like go to my favorite restaurant or whatever.
But then when he got the rose, he was like, I'm taking her to Houston, Texas.
I think he might live in New Orleans, but he's from Houston.
So his family's not even there.
Sure, but he still can't go to like his favorite restaurant. And
I guess I was just city. Like, you just complained this whole episode about not having her in your hometown, and then you're taking her on the hometown date to Houston, Texas.
You know what I was thinking about? It's kind of crazy that hometowns are next week. They're not going to Europe or another country. I feel like that's one of the reasons to go on the show. I feel like often people haven't traveled beforehand. And I can't believe that they're just not going to get it. And let me tell you, Callie, if you did want to go to Europe, United is the largest carrier across both the Atlantic and the Pacific. And this summer's schedule includes nearly 25 new routes. In fact, this summer, United will fly to over 100 international destinations, including additional flights to cities like Paris, Rome, Naples, Berlin, and Edinburgh. This got me thinking, what do you think of those places would be the best for the Bachelorette? Here are your options again. Are you ready?
Yeah.
Paris, Rome, Naples, Berlin, Edinburgh.
I think that there's probably the most to do. So you could have multiple dates in Rome.
I was going to say Rome as well, because Rome, there's the super ancient stuff. You can have a really romantic date on like the Spanish Steps and the Trevi Fountain. There's such like iconic things to do in Rome. Did you ever see the Lizzie McGuire movie in Rome?
Yeah.
Love that movie. And they did a lot of great stuff. You could ride around on a Vespa.
I love Rome.
I definitely... Yeah, I do too. I love Rome. I love the Forum. It'd be a great place to go. And then depending on who like the guy was, they could mix it up based on like, oh, we should do something chill, like we'll just walk around the ancient part of the city or do something new, like go to a like
definitely could do a shopping date there.
Oh my God, yeah, they could do the Pretty Woman date. They could do a cooking class.
Yeah,
they've gone to Paris a bunch of times. They went to Paris with
last season,
on a
right?
rainy day. Yeah, with Gabby and Rachel. And it seemed great, even though it was raining.
It seems like everyone and their mom have been to Europe at some point this summer. I even saw like the guy with the sign showing like, how is everyone affording to go to Europe this summer? Because that's how many people are there. 4 of my family members have gone and they've all flown United. Shockingly, I did not know that. United was the biggest carrier. And then every single time I've asked, they're flying United.
Wow. Well, if you also want to fly United, you can go to one of these locations. And wherever you travel for your couple's getaway, make sure you check out United Airlines. Plan your trip today at united.com or on the United app. Remember, flight schedules are subject to change. All right, more on Aaron B. We left him. We didn't give him the full attention he deserves. I really liked when Dotun couldn't remember the name of the race, and Aaron B was like, "Yeah, the Crescent City Classic."
Oh, Aaron was pissed. And again, we don't disagree with you, Aaron. So honestly, this episode, Aaron performed pretty well.
Yeah, he did. I agree with you. This episode is brought to you by eBay Authenticity Guarantee. eBay knows that when it comes to jewelry, authenticity is the real gem. When you see the blue check mark that says Authenticity Guarantee, it means your next piece will be carefully inspired by jewelry experts and will always be worth its weight in gold. Whether you're looking to make a statement or build the perfect everyday look, eBay is making sure you get the real deal. With eBay Authenticity Guarantee, you can trust that jaw-dropping piece will always arrive jaw-droppingly real. Ensure your next purchase is the real deal. Visit ebay.com for terms. This episode is brought to you by Visible. Maybe you've already let your New Year's resolution slip. We all have, but you can still make a 2 year's resolution with Visible. Right now, you can get a one-line wireless plan from Visible for just $20 per month for 24 months. 24 months is basically 4 Bachelor seasons. That could be 4 engagements, 4 broken engagements, so many other couples we didn't see coming. It's really an eternity in Bachelor Nation. And that's unlimited 5G data powered by Verizon with no annual contracts. Switch now at Visible.com and use the code Visible24. Don't miss out. Offer ends January 31st. New members only. Promotional rate with service on the Visible plan. For additional terms and network management practices, see Visible.com. One thing I forgot to mention about the 2-on-1, for a while when she was at the dinner portion, when she talked to each guy individually, the way that it was filmed, you couldn't see the table at all. So I thought they were just like sitting in a corner in chairs with like their knees facing each other or something. And I was like, what is going on here? It's so awkward.
I thought the date in general was really awkward, but if they made her pick a 2-on-1, she picked the right 2, but I'm like, did she? She could have had like, Sean with Aaron, and it would have been really easy for her to pick Sean and then like move on. I feel like she was like, I don't really like either of these guys that much, so I'm going to pick them on the 2-on-1. But then she got there and was like, I don't know which one I like less.
I know, it was pretty weird that happened, because you're right. Like if it was Aaron and someone else, she gives Aaron the rose. And then you leave Xavier, who I guess like if he tells you he's not ready and you're on the group date, you still just go to the rose ceremony, or like it still plays out in the same way. I don't know. It was definitely strange. Also strange that they didn't have rose ceremony at all. Like she basically did 3 send-offs, like or 2 send-offs, and then she gave Xavier the rose. But she canceled a lot of the group time. Like I think there's been 5 episodes. Like I think in 3 of them, she's like been like, nope, no rose ceremony or no cocktail party.
I would like to know how the producers feel about how she's done, because she's definitely doing things her way. We didn't have a rose ceremony this week, and she kept deciding not to give the rose out. And that's like a dramatic thing to be given to one person over another. And instead, she was like, I want to be a little bit more respectful about this, and like pull them to the side and tell them they're going home.
And with Sean, she was like, all right, we're here. And then she launches into the breakup. Like it didn't even seem that planned. Like I think he thought he was saving himself.
I think he thought he was saving himself. And then she was like, I think once he said, I will like falling in love with you, she was like, yeah, well, because trust me,
I am not.
When Dotun said it, and when she started crying when Joey said it.
No.
Like she couldn't
Her
be
and
happier.
Joey have a deep connection.
Yeah, which I do think Dotun's winning, because like everything he says, she's just like, oh my God. Like when he said she was falling in love with him, she was so happy that he said it. But crying happy tears and being so happy with Joey's answer to that question. And it is interesting that the last person she dated was white.
What does that mean to you?
I don't know. I think it gives Joey more of a chance. That's all I'm saying.
Well, I thought that also I was wondering if she's really like scarred by that experience. Like it seemed like it was really emotional for her to talk about it. Maybe that's why.
I mean, anytime she brings up her ex, she's crying. It was he's a grade A asshole.
Like
whoever that guy is. Yeah. Lots of trauma from that relationship. That is for sure. But it might just be like if that relationship was 8 years, 6 or 8 years, something like that, something crazy, some long time, and she's not that old. So that might be her only relationship. So there might be like comfortability there. I don't know if that's how it works. I don't know.
I don't think that's a word, but it's been used a lot on The Bachelorette.
Comfortability. Yeah. Can someone Webster it for us?
Comfort. I think the word is just comfort.
There seems to be some.
But you're
comfort
saying it because
there?
they say it on the show.
Maybe. Yeah. But you're correct. Comfort also works there. So I don't know why we're making the word longer.
It's like, it's also like when people say mischievous instead of mischievous. It's like there's no I there. So why are people saying mischievous?
Is it a potato thing with mischievous? Mischievous?
No, because that's adding in a letter. It's mischievous.
I don't know. That's also in Love Island. They always say, I'm really family orientated. Yeah. And I'm like, that's not a word.
It's oriented, people. Yeah. But I think that Joey's family's going to screw things up next week. I don't know. It seemed bad.
I really want a Dotun Joey final, because then I think if those are the final 2, even though I think Dotun's winning, I'd be like, I don't know. That would be a fun one to know who. Like I won't. I feel like usually at this point we're like, they're absolutely winning. I think I would be very mixed. I think it's Dotun, but it's close enough that I'd not be sure.
I think she and Joey have a really deep connection, but I think she has more fun with Dotun. Like, she just seems to be lighter with him. Like, just seems like it's easier.
She's definitely
and
giddier.
The takeaway is not like, wow, like he said the right thing or we connected, but it's that like with Dotun, it's just like it's easy, it's fun. They also connect, but it's just sort of, it seems different. Also, if you were her, like Dotun seems really different than her ex, not just because he's not white, but like just from everything she says, it doesn't seem like she's like dated someone like Dotun who like validates her and also just like seems to be on her level. So like maybe you'd want to try that out. I don't know.
Out of the final four, who would you pick?
I'm most intrigued by Xavier. Just feel like I like weird. So he seems kind of weird to me. Like in a good way. Like
That's who
good
you'd
weird,
pick,
normal
though?
weird. I'm most attracted to Dotun. Like actually of this group, I'm most attracted to Tanner. Number 2 is probably Dotun. I don't know. They're all too young. And like I have no evidence that any of them read. That's like really important to me. So actually, I think Xavier probably reads. He's an academic. He has to read like science papers and stuff.
I mean, yeah, he absolutely has to read.
Dotton's job is kind of a red flag for me.
What's his job?
It's like fake. He was
Marketer?
explaining it on his Instagram. It's integrative medical or integrative health consultant, which is like he consults people on like, I don't know, having different like ways to have like a holistic approach to health, but it's like supplements and vitamins and like shit like that. It's not like actually medicine. So that's a red flag for me.
Can I just say that's a huge red flag for me.
Yeah, I know. It's huge.
It's one thing if that's like a hobby. But even then, that hobby would not go well with my beliefs.
Yeah,
of science and medicine.
I completely agree with you, Callie. I'm right there with you. It's a problem. So that's a no for me with Dotun. And then like Xavier is the exact opposite. Like he's a PhD student, like researching, like cancer and MS, I think. So like that's much more appealing to me. And then Joey, I like, but I just wouldn't be willing to move to Hawaii. So that's off the table. I think for me, it's 1 Xavier, 2 Joey, 3 Dotun, and then Aaron B is a no. I would prefer Tanner over Aaron B. Double Denim Ken, he's a joke. What about you?
What's Aaron B's job?
I think he's software sales. The classic.
That's like the number 1 Bachelorette.
Yeah, exactly. I just think that Xavier is like just so great. Also, he went to Morehouse before he went to UNC. Like Morehouse is just great. You have to be really smart to go there.
Yeah, that would also be like another attractive thing.
Absolutely.
Man, what's Tanner do? Last one?
Tanner, I'm gonna look it up. I don't know. He's no Xavier.
I mean, knowing these on the top of your head is really good. I did know Joey and Xavier though.
He's from Pittsburgh. He's a mortgage lender. That's an absolute no. I don't believe in the predatory industry of mortgage lending. So
okay, so then that would make it a little bit easier for me. My number 1 is Xavier. Number 2 is Joey for me. All the places I want to live, love a good tennis pro there. Love a good tennis pro in Florida.
He'd fit
love
in
it
seamlessly.
Texas, so we can make it work in either of those places. I'm not moving to Hawaii though, so that's off the table for me. I guess Dotun would be 3rd.
Yeah, Dotun. I care about career. I don't just care about career because of money. I care about what it says, like about how you want to spend your time, and like what you're invested in.
Yeah, I can't hold Aaron B career against him because a lot of people do that straight out of college, and if you do it for a long time, you can make really good money.
Yeah. Look at Salesforce. It's like a huge company. I don't know. Xavier is like clearly like the real world choice, and Joey and Dotun are the Bachelorette world choices.
Is Xavier the real world choice? Because you're probably not getting proposed to, and if you are, he doesn't want to be.
Well, if this was the real world, I wouldn't be like Xavier. We must now get engaged after 8 weeks.
Yeah,
so.
I'm just wondering. After hearing what Xavier said, I'm like, I don't think he's ready, and I don't think he wants to be engaged.
He definitely does not, which is fine. I think that's
fine. I think that's fine in normal world, but like I don't know. If he were to get to the final 2, which I don't think he will, but if he does, I don't know if he's proposing. And if he does, then right afterwards, he's going to be like, so I propose to not embarrass you, but like, I am not ready. We got to be engaged for like 7 years, which is fine if you're okay with that. But it doesn't seem like Charity wants that. Charity wants to get married
There's a joke
tomorrow.
about this in Barbie. You haven't seen Barbie yet, but there's a joke about a long distance, low commitment girlfriend, which is what a lot of guys want.
Yeah.
Including maybe Xavier.
So we will see, but it looks like Xavier's our top.
Yeah, I think for some reason I just feel like Xavier, I imagine him like if he had a personal soundtrack, it would be Lil Yachty. I don't know why, but that's just like what I imagine for him.
I will say that his sweater did a lot for me this week.
Yeah. Don't you feel like it's a Lil Yachty sweater too?
Yeah. But also it's so out of the Bachelor norm dress code that I was like, I really like that he was like, I'm wearing this. This is how I like to dress.
This is me. Yeah, I liked it too.
I forgot to mention that Dotun has called himself a boy twice.
Versus a man.
On the show. Not this episode, but earlier on their one-on-one, he said something about being a boy. And then today she goes, I'm such a happy girl. And he's like, I'm a happy boy. And I was just like, ugh. I just wouldn't want you to respond. Don't say
He's cheesy.
Don't be like, I'm a happy boy. Like, are you too?
This is a really good transition to Love Island, where they talk about girls and boys all the time. That's like the language of the show. It's like, girls, please stand beside me at the fire pit. Boys, you'll be choosing for the recoupling. This is my host voice.
They do use girls and boys, but I think it might have a different meaning in the UK.
Okay, fair enough. And they use it interchangeably with lads, I guess.
Mm-hmm.
They don't say lasses for the women, but yeah.
Lad, bruv.
Bruv. Yeah, you bantering me, bruv. Callie, where are you out with Ty this week? First, as I said, we've only seen up through episode 50 because Hulu is effed up right now. But where are you at with Ty?
And I'm still fully in love with him. And I think he's obviously like taking a back seat past few episodes. I feel like he's just on chill mode.
It's wrapped up.
Yeah,
it's just wrapped up.
He's on chill mode. I do think he is like obsessed with Ella.
Ayla. I've been working on my Scottish pronunciation of Ella.
Ayla.
You know, it reminds me a lot of the Chris and Liv arc. So I get it. I love Chris the way that you love Ty. So it is very similar. The fighting, the ups and downs, the like
this
not being
last
sure.
fight though, like it could have been avoided very, very simply with just pulling Ella T over and being like, what was said? Because I agree with Ty. I think he completely deaded it. I don't think he was flirting. I think if anything, he was trying to be like a little rude and like bantery with how he was like, yeah, because she brought it up. Like, brought it up. Last time I saw you were kissing my face off. And he was like, yeah, Shane, that was our last kiss.
Yeah.
And in general, she's just trying to like stir the pot, make a name for herself, get some followers, because no one is convincing me that she likes Mitch. No one.
Mitch is so weird. I'm not ready to talk about him yet.
And I think Ella B gives horrible advice in general. She's had quite the roller coaster. She's back to horrible advice because I
really
think she's.
Don't like looking at her.
I think she's which one?
Ella B, new Ella.
Oh no, she's Ella T, isn't she?
No, Ella T is old Ella.
Oh, okay. Ella T. I think she gives horrible advice, but I think she's
Ella B or Ella T.
Old Ella.
Okay.
I think old Ella gives horrible advice, but
she does.
The one thing she said right in this past week was when she asked Abby, do you think she really likes Mitch? And Abby was like, I don't know, because Abby does not know a single damn thing. And Ella was like, yeah, I don't think so. She's playing the game. I was like, yeah, I'm glad someone is recognizing what's happening right now.
I think Tyreek is just very he just responds too much and he reacts too much.
Very emotional.
Ella B, it's tough. The thing is, she thinks that it's like gives her power that she made out with Ty recently-ish at a club. Whereas I think that's like embarrassing.
Me
like
too.
He just viewed you as like disposable club girl, not like someone he actually cared about. It's like I wouldn't want to bring that up.
He's like, I barely know her. I saw her in a club and I made out with her, but like I couldn't even tell you. I couldn't tell you what her middle name is.
Yeah. So that's like not a great sign. So I feel like she's
not
like
a power move.
She doesn't understand how that like that's actually not desirable. But Mitch, is one of the craziest, most inexplicable people I've ever seen on television. He is a madman. It's just like it gets weirder and crazier every time. I thought it was nuts at the beginning.
The Snog, Marry, Pie episode?
The way that he acted with Molly at the beginning, I was like confused by. I was like, this is funny. What a weird guy. But then, yeah, Snog, Marry, Pie. And also when he couples up with Ella B and then immediately after says he's interested in Abby. And then the next morning is like, no, I'm not interested in Abby at all. It's just like, is he just like saying things, hoping someone will tell him the right thing to say? Like, what is he doing?
I don't know. I was trying to think like from a game perspective. I'm like, is he just trying to like, because of how much this doesn't make sense, how he's moving, I'm just trying to think of a reason for why he's moving this way. And even from a game perspective, it doesn't make sense. So like, I cannot figure out. I don't think he has like any self-awareness at all. Like even in Snog, Marry, Pie, I thought he thought like when he went back to get his second pie, he was like, cheer me on, lads. Like he is so unaware. He's so unaware of what's happening. Even all the guys were like, he's not about to do that. He's not actually going to pie her. Oh my God, he's going to do it. He's going to do it. And like all of them were like, had their hands over their eyes like, Mitch, what are you doing? And in my Love Island group chat, someone was like, we need to replace Mitch's name. They should have named him Glitch because he's glitching all the time. You don't know what's going to happen. He just glitches and does the wrong thing.
Did you watch the unseen bits where they're playing the prank on him, where they keep talking about something that happened that never happened? And all the guys are like, just like pulling his leg.
No.
They're like, that was crazy, man. And he was like, what? What happened? And they just keep saying different versions. They're like, that was so crazy. Can you believe it? For like 10 minutes. And like, he doesn't get it. And they basically like, we'll tell you in the morning. And so he just must be like really impressionable and obsessed with like the group sentiment. Like he's just extremely immature.
He really wants to be liked by everyone, but then keeps doing things that no one is going to like. And then tries to take it back and still want to be liked by everyone. Like him supposedly being close with Zach and then treating Zach the way he did throughout this entire season is weird. And then trying to take it back and Zach's like, I mean, I'm fine. Luckily, Zach seems like a really nice guy and laid back and is just like, it's cool, Mitch. Like,
Zach's
whatever.
Also an idiot. Kissing Katie was the dumbest thing possible.
Yeah, it wasn't a great decision. He took the challenge incredibly literally.
Yeah.
I feel like, though, we've had this debate in my group chat, and most of the guys are like, sure, he shouldn't have done that, but he went first. So he thinks in his mind that marriage is the best, which it is the best. Every girl should actually want marriage and not the kiss.
Yes.
But he should have just like kissed a random girl on the cheek.
Yeah. Or just,
instead of made out with the girl that sent his girl home and that she has like a little insecurity about. Speaking of Zach and Molly, have you seen Molly's TikToks?
No.
Oh.
Why? Tell me.
I'm going to send you some.
Is she off the show? Are they recent?
No. They're like from before. It's not good. Zach is going to get the ick. I just can't imagine them working on the outside by just her TikTok.
What does she do?
It's very musical theater energy, very campy, very jazz hands.
Interesting.
Her whole family are like in the videos and down with the dances.
Weird. That's funny. My friend Helen was describing her as a theater kid, and she must have seen her on TikTok.
Her TikToks are... Zach is very similar to Charity's men. Zach is a cool dude. He is... No,
he's not. Oh, come on.
Yes, he is. He's very like chill. He's not doing that type of stuff.
That's true.
He's very like late. I don't mean cool and like trendy cool. I mean cool like he's like cool, calm, collected, like
he's chill. I think he does not know how to handle women. I just think he's like utterly baffled by them.
He clearly is strikingly good looking. Everyone that comes off the show, all the women that come on the show, like he's the one that they're like, yeah, I fancy. Even Katie's like, obviously I fancy him. He's a good looking, like Whitney. Everyone thinks he's good looking, which by the way, I think Whitney likes Zach. But anyways, everyone thinks he's good looking, but I don't think he's always been good looking. So I think I think like he went from like always had like a good looking face to like getting his body and everything together and becoming like strikingly handsome very quickly.
Plus he's tall, 6'5" or whatever.
Yeah. So, and I've said this before on the show, I think, tall guys can be like a 5 and women still want them.
Yeah.
So to be a tall 9, that's a huge jump.
Yeah, it's like pretty irresistible.
Yeah.
Speaking of the ick, the funniest turn of events for me was when Mitch tells people that Abby gave him the ick. And then Whitney tells Abby that she gave Mitch the ick.
Very
and then Mitch
bluntly,
confirms that he said that. It was
Whitney was like,
so
how
funny.
do I
Whitney
tell
was
it?
like,
No, she goes, how do I
so harsh.
How do I tell you this? You gave him the ick. I'm like, that you weren't thinking about it. Like, you said it completely straight up, as blunt as possible.
It was really funny.
And when she said it, Abby was just like, yeah. Like, there was no like, what? I gave him the ick. What did I do? Do you want to know how he gave me the ick? Like, there was no defense for it at all. She was just like, yeah. And then she goes and asks Mitch, and it's kind of like, you said that I gave you the ick. And Mitch was like, yeah, I did.
I'm like, do you people know that's like what that means? It's insulting. It's
Very.
like a pretty upsetting thing to be told that you've done, especially if you think you have a relationship.
Coming from Mitch. Like, you've given us all the ick 13 times.
Mitch needs a personality transplant before he can be in a relationship, or he needs to date significantly younger so that person can think he's actually cool.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Also, the Rita Ora concert. First of all, none of them knew the words to her songs.
I only knew one.
I have never heard any of your songs before. I couldn't tell you one Rita Ora song.
Oh, I know like a few, but only the third song that you performed had I heard before.
Well, they didn't know them. And that also made me think, if not them, then who? Who is listening to her songs?
I know.
Even though I don't know her songs, everyone knows who she is, though.
Of course. She's really famous. Yeah.
But for what?
I mean, she's a singer. And then she's dating, she's engaged to Taika Waititi.
That's not why she's famous, though.
No, she was famous already. She's a singer.
Did she date someone else?
I think yes. But I thought it was really awkward how she's on the other side of the pool. So she was like really far away from them. That was just, the whole thing was weird.
They were also all pouring down sweat.
Yeah, it's been ridiculously hot in Spain. It's the hottest summer of all time in Europe.
When Mitch was talking to Ella on the bed, dripping sweat, and then asked for a kiss, and I was like, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
What do you think? What do you think about Scott and Abby? I don't really get Scott. I don't understand why he's such a favorite in the UK.
I don't get why people love him.
Me neither.
And not that I dislike him. I'm like, I don't feel anything. I don't feel anything.
Yeah. He gives nothing.
I get why people like Whitney, but not to the point of her likeness. Like, people in the UK are obsessed with her. Yeah. And I like her. She's probably like top 3 for me.
So who do you think has a better chance of winning? Ty and Locken and Whitney, or Ty and Ella?
I think Locken and Whitney win.
I do too.
But I think Ty and Ella deserve to win.
Ty and Ella.
Ella. But when Rita Ora was performing, Mitch kept trying to like be a part of it.
Mitch is just one of the lamest people I've ever encountered. And like, I kind of say that with love. Although he's beginning to wear on me. I'm just like, this is like no longer that funny. He's just so inexplicably crazy. He's a madman.
I do like watching him though. But yes, he's
it's
mad.
Great television.
And I love how
I
everyone's
laugh
like,
out loud. It's like I cackle.
It's just Mitch being Mitch. Like, he must do so much more stuff we don't see for them all to be like, shrug. Like, they just shrug when he does something crazy.
Messy Mitch. When Katie's like, I want to see clean Mitch.
That was weird.
My biggest letdown is Uzi. I'm like, wow, this guy's contributing zero.
I said this to Seth when he got eliminated last night. I was like, well, whatever. I don't really care. He didn't bring anything. And he was like, no, he's cool. And I was like, yeah, in the regular world, yes. Uzi is someone that you'd want to like hang around, be with.
Yes.
Because he's
chill,
very
beautiful.
normal. Yes.
Yeah.
But normal people shouldn't go on the show.
Correct. Mitches should go on the show.
Yes, exactly. For the show, he gave me nothing. For real life, he's probably who you'd want to date.
I think Katie brought a lot to the table. Not as a human, but as a television character.
As a stir. Yeah. I think that Uzi's probably better one-on-one without cameras, just to note that.
This season really picked up when Katie arrived. Like a friend of mine was like, when does this get good? And I was like, when Katie comes.
I thought
Because it's the
I thought
shock
it was
Molly
good.
dumping. And then from there,
that's
it's like
true.
all a mess.
I thought it was good before, but the shock Molly dumping really like turned things up.
Yeah. Yes. Big time. Big time. Well, not a lot left. We're up to episode 50 here in America. And I think there's like...
Which usually it's over.
Well, yeah, I know.
I feel like it usually ends at like 52.
Yes, I think they do like 61 now. So we've got like a week or two left.
Yeah.
So hold on to it while you can. Thank you to our producer, Ashleigh Smith. We'll be back next week for Hometowns and, of course, more Love Island.